Good morning again, everyone. Going on the subject of deep listening, this is actually stated in Shinran Shonin's works of the Kyogyo Shinshu. Deep listening to the messages of the Buddha, specifically the ones about Amida Buddha, specifically the teachings of the Nembutsuge, right? All of these are, this is our deep practice, deep listening to the Dharma. Yes, there are wonderful and meritorious Buddhist practices that one can partake in. Begging alms, sitting in meditation, doing mantras, all of these things. Wonderful practices. But in order to engage in these practices as well, we have to learn how to listen. And then also realizing that our great teachers, the people who give us such wonderful teachings, will not be around forever as well. Thankfully, due to modern technology and of course just the written word and writing things down, we have the recorded words of many great teachers who have taught us, who have given us such wonderful quotes to live by throughout the years. But what about the everyday teachers in our everyday lives? What about the people, sadly, who we take for granted? And I don't mean this in an accusatory way. Everybody does this. I do this. I will always think that my father will be there. I will always think that my mother will be there. Because they are such constants in our lives. I know about the conceptual concept of death. But when you think about what we just did today, our Shotsuki service, when we read these names, right, do we just read them so we come up to offer incense, right? No. You read them and you offer incense because of the impact they had on your life. Because you acknowledge that they played a significant role in your very existence, in my very existence. It was a pleasure to see many of you at the National Council. And this is where I have to really look at myself and check myself. National Council of Northwest Convention. Because remember, I'm doing this whole preaching thing about deep listening and listening and listening. And when I am at those National Council board meetings, oh my goodness, let me tell you, sometimes I'm just thinking, when is this thing over? And then when nobody asks questions, learn how to paraphrase. And hey, your slot said you only have 5 minutes. You went 15 minutes, right? All of these frustrations in my mind, right? But you know what? Again, at the end of the day, these meetings are very important, and it's important to learn what the organization and the various aspects of the organization are doing for us. But most importantly, this really goes to show you that I still have a long way to go before I can even say to myself, I'm ready for fatherhood, right? Whether I'm ready or not, the baby's coming. But that being said, right, I have to think about this very carefully. Where is my patience? Where is my sense of just taking a breath and just allowing the person, just allowing things to happen sometimes? And then at the same time as well, just thinking all of these questions about how we should listen to our children, listening to our elders as well, as again, sometimes as annoying as that can be, and I mean no offense, but right, repeated questions or repeated stories, for the 10th time, right? It can get grating sometimes. But then a very important lesson was reminded to me. So after the Northwest Convention National Council was done, I very quickly flew down to the Bay Area. I flew down on Tuesday and came back on Wednesday. This is because my great-aunt Keiko Hiramoto has entered into hospice care. And the fact that I'm up here in the Northwest means that I'm not able to go see her as often as I would like to. But I felt it was very important for me to pay my respects to this woman because she acted in many ways as a surrogate grandmother to me and my younger brother over the years, she and her husband. They took us on wonderful trips. They actually, even when I was in middle school, they took me and my brother to Ashland, Oregon to go to the Shakespeare Festival. They would spoil us almost every birthday with cash gifts and wonderful things. They would bring steaks over to my parents' house so my dad could barbecue them. I have these wonderful memories. And they, of course, gave me very important teachings, both of them. My Uncle Mel has been long past. He passed away, actually, during in 2021, during the pandemic. And now my Auntie Kay is not long for this world either. Her health is she is very much starting to decline. She is in bed, most of the time, and she finds it hard to stay awake. But the good news is that she's not in pain, and she's not suffering, and many people are going and expressing their love to her. And it makes me realize just how fleeting life can be, how quick life can go. The Buddha taught us that one of the most things that's illusionary in life is permanence, is things that will last forever. And it makes me realize that, life is this constant moving wheel that will continue to roll, no matter how much I may want it to stop, right? Life passes quickly. So in this time of Shotsuki, it really does bring home to me on, the transitory nature of life. My Auntie Kay is a wonderful woman, and will always have a special place in my heart. And I also think, my goodness, as I am preparing myself for the departing of a loved one who is going to the Pure Land, I'm also preparing for an arrival as well. Life is a moving, living thing. And we are very much under the false impression that we have any control over so many aspects of it, or over 100% of it, right? I have no idea what lies in the future for my son. I have no idea, right? Like I'm already in protective mode and want to shield my child from all the horribleness of this world, that there is. But I also have to remember there's wonderful and beautiful things about this world as well. Wonderful and beautiful people, just like all of you. I want to share that with my son. This is how I think the temple community helps, right? It's not just this old, outdated religious practice that we come to sometimes that we think of, but it's here to help foster a community and to deeply listen to the Nembutsuge teachings, which time and time again teach us about the importance of listening, the importance of understanding our own limitations, being okay with our limitations, right? This doesn't mean, indulge in our limitations, but it means accepting them as well. And realizing that, as all of us are here, we're not alone. We are also very much under the delusion sometimes that we have to do things by ourselves. I have to do things, we have to do things on our own. But again, I point us back to the list that we read of the people who have departed before us. They remind us that we were never alone, that, that their contributions and that their hard work for this temple helped to bring us where we are today. And the question is, how do we take that? What lesson do we learn from that? Going all the way back even to Master Shinran Shonin's time. Without Shinran Shonin's teaching, without his guidance, would we all be here? Maybe there is another chance that we would be at another Buddhist temple of some kind, but this particular circumstance that we are here in right now means that the teachings of Jodo Shinshu have had a tremendous effect on our lives. I apologize for my mind is, of course, now not 100% here, because there's part of it that is like, I gotta get back home. Right? And you know what? People who are already parents, those of you who are parents right now, will say, I totally understand. Or in fact, if anything, you've been lecturing me for the past how many months, you're not going to understand, or this baby is going to change your life. Your life is never going to be the same, right? And of course, in the early stages of Reverend Cindy's pregnancy, I was just going, yeah, I know, right? I know that. But now that the time is almost just upon us, ooh, you were right. So as I stand before you today with mixed emotions and my mind all over the place, and with this thing in the back of my head going, did I remember to do this? Did I remember to do this? Did I remember to set this thing up? Do we have Reverend Cindy's go bag ready? All of these things, right? I still am able to come here to the temple, right here, right now, and say Namo Nembutsuge with all of you. And it really is a wonderful joy to be amongst people who also understand what parenthood is. To actually have children in the temple to remind me what parenthood is going to be like. And to have grandparents to, very much support us from their grandparent station. Kind of laughing sometimes when our child puts us through the same thing that we put through them. My father is actually already in grandfather mode. He's back to lecturing me and back to bossing me around and telling me what to do. Saying, remember to do this, remember to do this. Like, Dad, I got it. You need to make sure, da-da-da-da-da. Dad, I got it. He's turning into my father. Well, he was always my father. But still, now that this is happening, my father is he's going to become a grandfather. And I think, he's thoroughly enjoying that experience already, and the baby's not even here yet. Life is a wonderful thing. Life is a moving thing. And it's really important, and I'm telling this to myself, most importantly. Not much to you all, but it's important for me to say this here in front of you. My deep dedication is going to be to listen as much as possible, especially to my son, especially to most importantly to my wife, right? But very importantly, it's important for me to listen to my child. It's important for me to listen to my parents. It's important for me to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. For the Buddha warned me about the changing aspects of life. The Buddha warned me that life will never be the same. All of you warned me that life will never be the same. And lo and behold, it's not. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.